Chamber and introduce your petition.
Thank you. Cherwell District Council can feel rightly proud to be in the top 10% of councils across the country for recycling material from curbside collections. This must be largely thanks to the leaflets distributed to households, which also give advice on avoiding food waste, an effective way to influence behaviour. The 137 petition signatories asked Council to use those leaflets to raise awareness of the need to reduce meat and dairy consumption. It's undeniable that our dependence on animal agriculture must be reduced to protect climate targets and halt catastrophic biodiversity loss. Chatham House, the UN, the International Panel of Experts on Food Sustainability, and the government's own Climate Change Committee agree on this. 14.5% of all human-induced emissions are from livestock, and that's one of the lower estimates. 85% of UK farmland is used for feeding and rearing livestock, about 55% by weight of wheat, barley and oats, and almost all oilseed rape and maize production is for animal feed. Animal agriculture uses 30% of all drinkable water, ever more pertinent in the face of droughts and rising temperatures, and accounts for 70% of all antibiotics used across the world, creating the serious risk of antimicrobial resistance. Animal husbandry results in huge loss of natural habitats, including rainforests, to provide land for growing animal feed. Animal waste pollutes rivers, and intensive systems can spread viruses that put wild birds and animals, as well as humans, at risk of new pandemics. Our current food supply depends on predictability of weather, land use, labour and transport, none of which can be taken for granted. Soaring temperatures such as those in southern Europe, droughts, wildfires, floods and rising sea levels all contribute to a loss of land for agriculture and the potential failure of staple crops. We urgently need to build resilience into the country's food system. That can't be done by prioritising animal feed over food for people. A study reported in Science Journal states that even if fossil fuel emissions were eliminated immediately, emissions from the global food system alone would make it impossible to limit warming to 2 degrees or less. Major changes in how food is produced are needed. The CCC says that more must be done to encourage us all to install heat pumps, insulate our homes, fly less and reduce the meat we eat. Climate policy in all areas of public life has to include food strategy. A new report from the Fair Transition Unit says that meat reduction shouldn't be left to consumer choices and behaviours. Changes within the supply chain are fundamental to creating the conditions for public behaviour to shift. Leadership, including local leadership, is essential on this. But in spite of all the compelling evidence, moves to reduce meat consumption are met with predictable objections. Of course, councils and other public bodies aren't going to ban meat or instruct people what to eat. The aim must be to encourage better, more sustainable choices. Nor is the aim to force everyone to be vegan, as if that were possible. Please, let's not trivialise the issue with that kind of pointless distortion. A vegan versus farmers narrative polarises the issue and distracts attention from possible solutions. Meat will continue to be reared, bought and eaten. But we can reduce emissions, protect biodiversity and support local farmers and growers by encouraging people to buy local seasonal produce whenever they can. One petition signatory has identified himself as a beef and dairy farmer. Rather than feeling threatened, he sees the importance of adaptation. Many argue that pasture-fed local meat is the most sustainable, but how many people eat exclusively local grass-fed meat? How many can afford to? And how much land would be required if everyone did? That can't be a solution. In the face of climate breakdown, people often feel helpless, seeing recycling or reducing plastic as the limit of what they can practically achieve.
Thank you.
But as Dr. Tim Spector says, our food choices are the single most important thing we can do for climate change. Publicising this can help people to make responsible decisions. It's vital that councils and other public bodies take a lead by raising awareness. It's no longer a question of whether we need to reduce meat and dairy consumption. The question is whether we have the collective will to adapt while there's still time to make a difference. In the context of the planetary emergency we all face, the petition's request is a simple step towards a much-needed behavioural shift. Please give it your wholehearted support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Newbery. You are, of course, welcome to stay at the meeting in the public gallery, or if you feel free to leave, you'll be kept informed of the consideration of your petition. Thank you.